Abu Sufyan, a Meccan merchant leader, was leading a huge trade caravan back from Syria. It carried more than 500 gold coins and expensive goods. But to reach Mecca, the caravan had to pass close to Medina, where Prophet Muhammad's followers, the Muslims, were waiting to intercept it. But why would the Muslims attack a caravan during Ramadan? When they fled from Mecca to Medina, they had lost everything. Their homes, land, and property were seized and sold by the Meccan leaders. This caravan carried those very goods that once belonged to them. So this wasn't about robbery. It was about taking back what was stolen. Realizing the danger, Abu Sufyan quickly changed his route to avoid Medina and sent a messenger racing to Mecca for help. When the messenger reached the Kaaba, he cut his camel's ears, tore his clothes, and shouted, "Help! Muhammad's men are attacking!" That was the old Arabian way of signaling an emergency. One of the Meccan chiefs, Amr ibn Hisham, known as Abu Jahl, the fiercest enemy of Islam, leapt to his feet. "How many men does Muhammad have?" he demanded. "About 313, the messenger replied. Abu Jahl laughed. "Then we'll march with 1,000 men, 100 horses, and 70 camels. Even if the caravan is safe, it will crush Muhammad's army." Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, led his small force to the wells of Badr, a valley surrounded by sand dunes. A companion asked, "Messenger of God, did God command us to camp here? Or is this your plan?" Prophet replied, "It's my plan." The man suggested, "Then let's move forward and control the water." The Prophet agreed, and that night the Muslims quietly shifted their position. At sunrise, the Meccan army appeared, 3 times larger than the Muslims. From their side stepped Utbah ibn Rabi'a, a wealthy leader with his brother and son. "Send us men from our own tribe," he shouted. 3 warriors advanced, Hamza, the Prophet's uncle, Ubaidah, and young Ali, only 24. In a fierce duel, Utbah and his men were killed, but Ubaidah was gravely wounded. Utbah's own son, Hudhaifa, was among the Muslims. He watched his father, uncle, and brother fall in battle. Yet his faith never wavered. He stood firm with the Prophet, proving that belief was stronger than blood ties. The Muslims knew they were outnumbered, so they held their ground, waiting for the Meccans to attack. Abu Jahl ordered his men forward, certain victory was near. But the moment the fighting began, his soldiers met resistance they never expected. The battle turned, one slowly, then suddenly. For every Muslim who fell, 5 Meccan warriors were defeated. The Meccans panicked. The Muslims rotated their fighters, fresh men to the front, exhausted ones to the back. Abu Jahl screamed for another attack, but this time his army broke and scattered. On the blood-soaked sand of Badr, Abu Jahl, the pharaoh of this nation, as the Prophet had called him, a young Muslim stood over him and said quietly, "Praise be to God, the enemy of truth has fallen." That moment marked the first great victory in Islam. Faith had triumphed over arrogance. Back in Mecca, people waited for news of another easy victory. The Quraysh had not lost a battle in over 60 years. They were the strongest tribe in Arabia. Even the army of Abraha, with 6,000 soldiers, had once been defeated by them. But when survivors stumbled back with the truth that a small band of 313 Muslims had won, Mecca was stunned into silence. One Western historian later wrote, "Before Badr, Muhammad was seen as a weak exile. After Badr, he was seen as a leader, a statesman, and a commander. A man who defeated an army 3 times his size, not through weapons but through faith." The Muslims returned to Medina in celebration. The streets were filled with joy and gratitude, but when the Prophet reached his home, he learned that his beloved daughter, Ruqayyah, had passed away just days before. The Prophet was heartbroken, yet he smiled for his people, not letting his grief overshadow their joy. It was a moment of deep humanity, victory for Islam but sorrow for a father. But peace would not last long. Abu Sufyan, still burning with revenge, gathered 3,000 soldiers from across Arabia and vowed, "We will avenge Badr." The next great test was on the horizon. The Battle of Uhud was about to begin,